Have you ever felt so overwhelmed that you just want to crawl into your bed under the sheets in a fetal position and not get out, ever? If you answered yes, then I completely understand your feelings. I have been there, I have felt it and had to endure it. Let me tell you something, it is not easy. As an empath, I have a heightened ability to feel the emotions of others. This does not help when I am feeling overwhelmed. I have been doing fine for quite a stretch of time, but amidst this pandemic, things have escalated to another level. I feel like the energetic vibrations surrounding me are in a negative state and I am constantly affected. Suddenly, I started feeling anxious and irritated again. All this due to the overwhelming emotions that I am exposed to on a regular basis. The funny thing is that I still have to go to work in the office, so I am exposed to all kinds of different people and their emotions of fear, doubt, worry, and the list goes on. At the end of each workday, I get home in such an exhausted state and I literally just jump into my bed and hide under the sheets. It's very difficult and I wish I can say that it is easy and that it will end quickly, but this is the only time in my whole life that the external circumstances are actually affecting me in ways that I have never known before. That's saying a lot because I don't believe in allowing external factors to affect my mental health. Then it dawned on me, during my wallowing self-pity, I was very hormonal and in bed alone with my thoughts, that I decide what I feel. I decide whether I should feel overwhelmed or empowered. Despite the fact that the world is going to hell with this pandemic, I am the maker of my own happiness and mental strength. Keep in mind that Allah does not burden us with more than we can handle. This is a fact and is stated in the Quran, Surah Baqara verse 286. Therefore, whatever overwhelm I am going through, I have the strength to get through it. I may not see it, or even know it now, but it is possible and is just a matter of patience and research and learning the ways to overcome it. I have the chance to crush this feeling of overwhelm by first telling myself that I can handle and overcome anything that comes my way. Secondly, I know that I need to be patient and pull through whatever is dragging me down. Thirdly, I will take the time to research and learn how to get out of this overwhelm, whether it will be to go on YouTube or Google or look for professional help. I can't emphasize how important this last one is, especially seeking professional help. In my culture, it is so taboo to want to ask for help. I need to show everyone that I am capable of handling everything myself. However, what I didn't know is that my family has a history of depression and anxiety and we are extremely susceptible to it no matter what. The point that I'm trying to make is that as much as we want to prove to ourselves and to others that we can handle certain things on our own, sometimes nature or many other factors don't allow that. In my case, there were many times that I struggled with depression and anxiety, and I still do on a regular basis, and I can manage it most days. But when it lingers longer than it should, that's when I realize that I was not able to figure it out and I needed to seek help. Help can come in many forms: a friend, family member, or even a professional therapist, life coach, etc. There is no harm in getting help. Personally, every time I sought help, I was given the key to unlock the source of my suffering. It's interesting how everything we go through has an underlying cause that we may not even be aware of, until we get the help to figure it out. Being a biochemist, working in the pharmaceutical industry, I have gotten into the habit of trying to figure out the root cause. So I tend to discover the root cause of my depression and anxiety sometimes. Nevertheless, I still get those moments when I cannot find it no matter how hard I try. It can be due to various reasons. Maybe I was not even aware of the root cause in a particular case, or perhaps I was too stressed to simply find that the answer is right in front of me. How many times has this last one happened to you, where you have your glasses on your head and you start looking for them only to realize that they were on your head the whole time? Or your phone is in your pocket and you can't seem to find it because you are freaking out about where it is. Our minds shut down when we stress over the smallest trifles. That is why we need to relax. We need to calm down so that we can see the solution that is typically right in front of us. All the negative noise simply blocks that from our sight. Keep in mind that our thoughts and emotions can be controlled by our own minds. If we can eliminate that negative thought, then the associated feelings that come with that thought disappear. Was that confusing? Let me explain in more detail. For example, I have a thought about my weight, so this will be a negative thought, And because it is a negative thought, all the negative emotions associated with that thought will begin to manifest themselves in my mind. Because of that one thought, I will start to feel insecure, I will start to feel depressed and sad, and these emotions will then start filling my mind until I physically start to feel them by drooping my head, walking differently, and my body language will also reflect that. Not to mention all the biochemistry that is going on in the background, release of neurotransmitters in my brain that result in the release of stress hormones and other hormones that will then cause me to want to eat a big pot of pasta followed by a tub of ice cream. Remember, this is all happening in my mind, which then came out physically as a result of one negative thought. So why should I allow one negative thought to cause me all this harm and continue to slog in this detrimental cycle? So what's a girl to do with so much overwhelm? First of all, let me tell you this because it is very important. Never allow yourself to feel overwhelmed, no matter how bad a situation may be, no matter how dark and deep that tunnel is. When things get too overwhelming, we just need to take a step back, breathe and relax. I like to ask myself if this problem that is causing me to feel overwhelmed will matter in 100 years. Once I get that perspective, then everything changes in my mind. I start realizing that this overwhelm is not worth it, and then feelings, which are just a vibration in the body, disappear, which then allows me to think clearly in order to overcome that overwhelm. So without further ado, here are 7 ways that can help to overcome the overwhelm that we experience. Stay away from the stimuli. One of the root causes of overwhelm are the different ways that we get stimulated by social media, internet, etc. There are generally 2 different ways that we can get overwhelmed. One way is when there is too much to do, we will discuss later, and the other way is too much information. When the mind consumes too much information, then it becomes very easy to get overwhelmed. Then the anxiety kicks in, the aches and pain, chest tightening, labored breathing, the list can go on and on. So we need to identify the trigger and stay away from it as much as possible. In most cases it is the cell phone, or any kind of electronic, social media. It will be difficult due to the dopamine rush we get every time we get a notification, but just like any detox, it needs to be eliminated slowly and in small increments. So maybe one could start reading a book before bed instead of being on the electronic cell phone, tablet, laptop, and then stop looking at the phone first thing in the morning, and then keep paying attention throughout the day for when that pang to look on the phone kicks in, and then stop looking at the phone. Boundaries. This one is very important because we take on the weight of others because we don't want to seem mean or to hurt other people's feelings. But in fact, this is hurting us by overwhelming us. The moral of the story is to learn how to say no. When you say no, you empower yourself and gain respect. Especially in the workplace where people are always looking to delegate their tasks to the first person that will say yes. Write your emotions. I can honestly swear by this one. Anytime I feel very overwhelmed, I take pen to paper and write it all down. There's something so liberating about writing your feelings down on paper and seeing them. It's a release for the thoughts that have been haunting my mind, and they get a chance to get locked down on paper and leave me alone. Prioritize. All that can be said here is to make good use of the 80-20th rule as described by Tim Ferriss. Essentially, he talks about performing 20% of the tasks that yield 80% of the results. It's important to always think like this when planning tasks because it will help clear away the useless tasks that will just take up time without yielding any results. Plan your day. I came across a super helpful way to plan my day. Jordan Page from funcheaperfree.com talked about using a block schedule. So the way it works is to create 2 to 3 hour blocks from morning till night, and each block is used to complete certain tasks. It works just like being in school when the bell rings for the different classes. It allows you to focus on the tasks assigned in that block. It's a very productive way to get through the day. Take a break. We often neglect ourselves until our body starts burning out. That is the worst thing to do. It's imperative to give our body the break it deserves and when it is needed. We need to recognize the signs so that we can stop. Guess what one of the signs is? That's right, overwhelm. It's far more productive and efficient to take a break and retreat in order to return energized. This is helpful because it allows the mind to reset, and perhaps that break will give you a chance to come up with different ways to overcome that overwhelm. Call yourself on your emotions. Does this ever happen to you? Do you find yourself carried away with so many negative thoughts, with each thought provoking a different emotional vibration throughout the body until you find yourself literally tensed up in a ball? That's when I realized that I need to be more mindful of when this starts so that I can prevent that physical tensing up from happening in the first place. Awareness is a critical step here because it allows us to stop it before it even begins. Once a negative thought pops into mind, you have to call it and let it pass through like a sailing boat, instead of stagnating and manifesting itself into an emotion. Literally say it out loud: this negative thought will pass through without impacting me and will not create the negative emotion in my body. It's incredible what happens when you call yourself on your thoughts. Your mind immediately acknowledges what you just said and allows the negative thought pass so easily without causing any harm. So I hope these tips will help you to overcome your overwhelm and start feeling better. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below if you tried these tips. Please subscribe and like for more videos like this.